Hey everybody, this is Christina Davis with Craft Muse, and today our tutorial is for a Mickey Zoom Zoom inspired Loomigurumi. If you've done my Daisy and Donald, then this is pretty similar, the whole shape and everything like that, except there are quite a few color changes in this, so and the facial features are different, of course. I don't have one to show you right now. I actually made one and posted it to Instagram, but then after I looked at it a little bit longer, I kind of didn't like the way you could see where you switched colors out. So I tried to figure out a way to get that to be more seamless for the color change. I have a practice one that I've been working on. This one's obviously not finished, but as you can see, it's a little bit cleaner looking on the edges where we change out the colors. And I also decided to add a little snout instead of just the black nose. So that's what we'll be doing today. And the materials that you will need for this are red. I'm using Rainbow Loom, just the regular opaque red, Rainbow Loom opaque black, and then I'm using an off-brand band nude just because I didn't feel like sitting and going through the skin packs because that's like the hardest pack for me to sort through. So you'll be needing those three colors and then something for the eyes. I'm just using the regular size pony beads and then I put those onto the nude. So we'll need 2 of those. However, if you don't have the pony beads, you can just use regular bands. I'd say maybe use about 2 and then put them onto your hook like this, wrap them around once, and then grab all of them and wrap them around again. And then just take your nude color and slide those on to your band. Like that, and then just set it aside, and we'll be doing the same exact thing as we will with the beads for the bands. There's going to be an exact count of bands in the description box below, so go ahead and check that out. It's not like super band heavy, so hopefully you guys will all be able to make this. I was initially going to be making a Mickey / Minnie tutorial for this one. However, after looking at it, it seems like I need to do Minnie separate, so we'll have the separate tutorial for Minnie if you would like to make her as well. Okay, and then you'll also be needing polyfil or some kind of stuffing. And then again, I'm using this hair chalk for the cheeks, and then a little paintbrush if you use that. You can use makeup chalk, regular chalk, paint, bands, whatever you want for the cheeks, or you don't even have to add cheeks. It's completely up to you. And then I have a C-clip, and I have another hook just to hold my ears and legs on for now. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with the ears, and then we'll do the feet and the arms. Okay, so for the ears, we're going to be using black. And I'm just going to wrap my band around 2 times so that I have 3 onto my hook. And we need 6 stitches. So this is our magic ring. I'm just pulling the cat band onto my first band. And so now I have 2 loops on my hook. And I am just going to take the band closest to the outside and bring it through the band on the inside. We're going to go back through our cat band, grab another black band, and bring that through the cat band only. So now you have 3 bands on your hook, and you're going to take these 2 bands and bring them over that first band. Okay, so let's do that again. So this will be number 3. will be number 4. This would be number 5. And then last one for our magic ring, number 6. So we should have 6 stitches now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to take my C-clip as my stitch marker and place it on the band that is on my hook. So the next thing we're going to be doing is a single crochet in one stitch and then an increase in the next, followed by a single crochet and then an increase, single crochet, and ending with an increase. And for those of you who don't know what an increase is, it's just doing 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So we'll start off with our first stitch will be a single crochet. So I'm just going to go into that V-shaped stitch. That's a stitch right there. And I'm going to pull one band through. And then as we did with the magic ring, I'm just going to put those loops over. Our next stitch will be a double crochet or an increase. So I'm doing, here's 1. Here's 2. So that was our increase. Our next one will be a single crochet in the next stitch over. And then our next stitch over will be an increase. So there's 1. And there's 2. Our next stitch will be a single crochet. There's 1. And then our last stitch will be a double or an increase. So 2 single crochets in our last stitch. And there's 1 and 2. And now we should have a total of 9 stitches. So let's count that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now what I'm going to do is actually go through that first stitch and just fasten this off. So I'll pull up another black band, I'll pull it through all of the loops on my hook, and then make a slip knot and pull tight. Okay, so that is one ear. Go ahead and make another ear. Pause the video and make another one. And now we are going to start working on our arms and feet, which are basically the same thing. So, very easy. All 4 are just going to be consisting of a magic ring with 6 stitches in it. So, I wrapped my band around the hook twice, and I am going to pull up 6 bands in our magic circle. So there's 1. Going back through the cat band, just making sure I didn't miss a loop, and I did. Okay, here's 2. Here's 3. 4. 5. And 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you'll need to make 3 more of those and just put them on something like a hook or your loom just to hold it for now, because we are going to be attaching these onto the body as we go in our rounds. Okay, so those are our ears and our feet. Okay, so at this point, you should have your 4 little arms and legs and your 2 ears. And so now let's start with the actual main portion of the Tsum Tsum. So we're going to be starting out with nude, or skin tone, whatever you prefer to call it. And our first round will be the magic ring with 6 stitches in it. So I'm wrapping my band around once, and then twice, and we need 6 stitches in there. So this will be number 1. Going through that cap band, pulling through the cap band only. That's number 2. There's 3. 4. 5. And here's 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 stitches. Put your C-clip or your stitch marker on. And now what we're going to do is an increase around all of this, around the whole thing. So in each stitch we will do 2 single crochets so that we end up with 12 stitches all together. Okay, so my first stitch, here's 1. My first stitch still, I'm going through again and pulling up another one. My second stitch, doing 1 single crochet and then going through there, that stitch again and pulling up another one for another single crochet. My third stitch, just 1, 2, and then my fourth stitch, just 1, 2, and then I'm on my 5th stitch, there's 1 and 2, and then the last stitch, I'm just going to take my C-clip out. I'm going to do 2 more single crochets, so there's 1, and here's 2. So now we should have 12 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Our next row, which is row 3, we are going to be adding our eyes as we go around. So get your eyes ready if you haven't. And for this row we are going to be doing 1 single crochet and then an increase. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, all the way around, and we want to end up with 18 stitches. Follow along with me so I can show you where to place the eyes. So let's go. I know we're going to place the first eye in the 3rd stitch. So let's do our first stitch, which will be a single crochet. So there's 1. Our next stitch will be 2 single crochets. So there's 1, and then going in the same stitch, here's 2. Okay, in our 3rd stitch, we are going to add our eyes, so stick your hook through that stitch, grab your eye, and grabbing only one end of the band, pull that through, and then reclaim the other side of the band, and then do your crochet. So that was a single crochet. Now we're going to move on to the next stitch with 2 single crochets. So there's 1 going into the same stitch again. There's 2. And then our next one will be a single crochet. Our next one will be a double, or 2 single crochets. Our next one is a single. This next one is 2 singles, so an increase in this next one. Okay, and then in this next stitch, we'll be adding our other eye. So I believe this is stitch number 9. So again, stick your hook through that stitch, grab your other eye, grabbing only one end of the band, pulling that through, and then reclaiming the band onto your hook and pulling through like that. Okay, so that was a single. Our next stitch will be an increase. These bands are so waxy feeling. I don't think I like it. Okay, and then our next one will be a single. And then our last stitch with the stitch marker on it, which I just took off, will be 2 singles. So there's 1. Then I'm going back into the same stitch and doing another single crochet. Okay, so this is what you have. Looks like a bug or something, but we can fix that later. Okay, so we should have 18 stitches. I have 1, 2, 3. There's a tiny stitch here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay. Alright, so for row 4, we're going to be doing a single crochet in 2 stitches. So 2 single crochets and then an increase. 2 single crochets, increase. 2 single crochets, increase. So we're going to do that all the way around so that we end up with 24 stitches. Okay, and this is where we're going to start doing some of our color change. Our very first stitch, we are going to be doing black. So let's go in through that first stitch, grab a black band. And now what I figured for color changes is it's a lot easier. It's a lot cleaner if you just bring it through like you're doing a slip, like you're fastening off. So I'm grabbing my black band and I'm bringing it through all of the hooks, all of the loops on my hook, and then doing a slip knot, not a tight one, just kind of like you're just doing a crochet. Okay, so that was 1 single crochet. And then my next stitch over, which will be nude, I am just pulling that through and just crocheting regular. So I just did 2 single crochets. My next band will be an increase. Okay, the next one will be a single, and you don't skip this little stitch right here. That is where your eyes are, but that counts as a stitch. So, There's one, and then I'm going to the next stitch and doing a single crochet. And then my next stitch will be an increase. Next stitch is a single crochet. So there's one, and then my next one, a single. Next stitch will be a double or an increase. Next two stitches will be singles. So there's one stitch, my next stitch is another single. And then our next stitch will be an increase. So there's one going into the same stitch. There's two. Okay, and then you're coming up to your tiny stitch. That's going to be a single crochet in there. Okay, and then this one will also be a single, the next one over. Okay, let's see, is that right? 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Oh, okay, go ahead and take that one last stitch that you just did, because we're switching to black there. So I just took off one, and I'm going to go through here and do my single crochet but with black. And again, I'm taking my band and pulling it through all of the loops on my hook so that I just have black on my hook, and I'm just doing like a slip knot. And then I'm going to continue on to the next stitch and do an increase here with black still. My next stitch will be a single with black. And my next stitch as well, a single. And then my last stitch will be two single crochets with black. So, whoops, gotta go into the stitch first. So there's one, and then here's two. Okay, so that's what you have right now. That was row 4. Now we're going to be doing row 5. So for the first two stitches, we're still going to be using black, and we're just stitching around, but follow me because we're going to be doing the color changes. So let's see. Okay, so this is where the way that I'm doing the color changes, this is where it could get a little bit confusing, because you're gonna see these stitches. I don't know, let me see if I can, okay. You're gonna have these stitches when you do a slip knot, like with the color change, and it's gonna kind of veer off. It's not gonna be straight like this, it's gonna kind of go like that. And so as you can see here, I have this black one here. Just totally skip those when you're doing your rounds. Do not include those into them. So my first stitch will not be in this one. It will be in this one here. So this will count as my first stitch with black. So here's one single crochet, and then in the nude I'm doing one with black, There's 2. And now I'm switching back to the nude for 13 stitches. So let's go in through there, and we're going to do our slip knot again. So that was 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then for the remainder, it will just be black all the way up to our C-clip. So we're going to need to do our slip knot. So I'm going into that next stitch, taking my black, bringing it through all of the hooks, all of the loops, and doing a slip knot. I'm going through the next one and just continuing on with my single crochets. Now here's another one of those funky stitches where it kind of veers off. Skip that one completely and just go into the next regular stitch. Trying to see if okay, just trying to show you a little bit better. See, this one kind of like goes this way. We are not going to be stitching into those, and this is just a result of doing a slip stitch instead of a single crochet, but it's really the only way I could figure out how to do a nice color transition with the colors. So, and I'm just continuing around with black with single crochets. Now if you're uncomfortable with the whole slip stitch, go ahead and just change your colors. It's not gonna look bad. It's just, I just wanted it to be a little cleaner looking, so. Get in there. Okay, here's my last stitch here. Okay, so we should still have 24 stitches, and we're just basically just going to be stitching around. No more increases or anything like that until the very end, till we get towards the bum area. Okay, so let's put our C-clip back in there. And so now we're for row 6, the first 3 stitches now will be in black. So, and then we'll go to nude. So let's do stitch number 1 with black, number 2, and then now here we have a funky angled stitch here, so I'm skipping that and going to the next one over, and that's 3. Okay, now we're going to switch back to our nude for stitches 4 through 13. So here's number 4. I'm doing my slip knot or slip stitch just like that. So that was 4. There's 5. Here's 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, so now I'm switching back to black. Okay, so I'm going to go in through my next stitch, grab my black band, and do my slip stitch. So there's 1, there's 2, and then I'm coming up on a weird stitch over here, so I'm skipping it. And I'm just going to go around in black all the way to we get to our C-clip with single crochets. And here's my last one. And we still have 24. I'm just going to count just to make sure. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3. Skip your weird one. That doesn't count as a stitch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Skipping the weird one. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So right on track. This is what you got so far. Looks kind of like a little boy. Little boy. Okay. Let's see which one, where did we leave off? On row 6. Okay. So for row 7, the first 4 stitches will be in black. And then we'll continue on, we'll go switch to nude and then end with the black. So let's do the first 4 stitches in black. So there's 1, 2, runaway band, 3, skipping my weird stitch, going straight into that other one, 4, and now I'm switching to nude. So this is stitch number 5 through 12 will be in nude or skin tone, I don't know. Okay, so I'm taking it through all of the loops on my hook, doing my slip stitch. So that was 5. Here's 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. And 12. And now I'm switching back to black. I'm going to do my slip stitch. I don't know what this is really called. I mean, I'm not a crochet guru, so please forgive me if I'm doing this wrong, but okay, so yeah, we're just continuing with the black, skipping our weird stitch there and going all the way around to our seat clip with black. Okay, I'm coming up on my last stitch. Okay, so that's what you got right now. So you got nice, clean transitions. Okay, so I'm putting my C-clip back into the beginning, and we are going to do row 8, which will be 5 blacks and then 5 nudes, and then finish off with black. So let's go into our first stitch and pull up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, skipping my weird stitch there, 5, and now we're switching to nude for stitch 6 through 11. So I'm doing my slip stitchy thingy. There's 1, so that's stitch 6. Here's 7. Here's 8. Here's 9. 10. And 11. Okay, we're switching back to black again for the remainder up into the C-clip. So there's 1, and then you have your weird stitch, so skip that. So single crochets all the way to your C-clip with black. Okay, our last one. Take your C-clip and put it back. Okay, so now we're going to be using the red. No more nude for a little bit until we make the nose. So we can put our nude skin tone away for now. Okay, so for our next 4 rounds, this is the color pattern that you're going to follow. We're going to be doing 4 rounds in total. So the first 3 stitches will be in black, and then from 4 through 10 will be in red, and 11 through 24 will be in black. And you're just going to repeat that 4 times around. So if you want, keep count with how many rows that you've done so far so you don't get lost. So I'll just keep this paper here. I'll do the first row with you, and then if you just want to pause the video, and then we'll continue on after that. So this little paper will kind of help you out while your video is paused. Okay, so my first 3 stitches will be in black, and again, these are just single crochets all the way around. We still want to keep 24. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Okay, now I'm switching to my red. So I'm going to do my slip stitch. So that was number 4, and then we're going to go all the way to 10 with the red. So here's 5. Okay, I'm skipping my weirdo stitchy. Here's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and then the rest will just be blacks all the way around. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, I'm coming into my last stitch. I'm going to replace my C-clip in the band on my hook. And I'm going to actually do the next row with you as well. So that was row number 1. So now we're going into row number 2 with 3 blocks. So here's 1. Here's 2. And here's 3. Okay, funky stitch right there, so we're skipping that. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 will be red. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, oops, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and then just continue all the way to your C-clip black. So if you guys can hear any crazy background noise, I don't know if it's gonna show up, but my husband and my 3-year-old are playing and they're being so loud right now. So I apologize for that if that comes through. I have a wild 3-year-old toddler, but he's adorable. Okay, so here's my last stitch. And so that was row number 2 for this pattern, and we're just going to be doing 2 more. So go ahead and pause this video, and I'll meet you back here when you've finished 2 more rows of this same color pattern. Okay, so after you've finished your 4 rounds with this color pattern here, this is what you should end up with. And I just pushed his eyes in so that they're not popping out and looking funky. And then what I did was, after I reached my last stitch, I went into the next stitch and fastened off with a different color band, just temporarily, because this is where we're going to start adding the nose and the ears. And guess what? I completely forgot to add the feet into the rounds. So we can do that separately. It's not a big deal. We can still attach them. So I think we'll start with the nose. And to make the nose, we're going to be needing our nude again. We're just going to make a magic ring with 6 stitches. So there's 1. And here's 2. 3. 4. 5. And 6. Okay, so I have 6 stitches, and I'm just going to go into my next stitch and fasten that off. So I'm just pulling through all of the loops on my hook and tying a slip knot. Okay, so we've got that. And that's going to go about right there. But first we want to add the little black part, the actual nose. So put that down for a moment. And then I'm just going to take one single black band and I'm going to wrap it around my hook. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've created 5 loops on my hook. And I'm going to take one more skin color band and pull that on to it. Okay. And then just scoot that towards the center. Okay. No, don't fall off. Making sure your black nose it doesn't pop off your band. Okay, so before I add the nose, I have this tying off band here, and then I'm just going to go directly across it and place another one. So I'm just going to tie a slip knot through this stitch here, and these are what we'll use to attach it to the face. Okay, so our nose can be just lay in the center of your magic ring, and then you're gonna go through an empty space. Let's see, if you want your nose to sit lower, then you're gonna go down here and bring these loops through, but I think I want mine to sit a little higher, and so I'm gonna go through these loops here where my slip knot is and pull that through. I'm just going to keep that band on my hook, and then I'm going to go directly across from that and pull this other band through. Okay, so now I've got, this is what I've got now, and I'm just going to turn this around and just tie that into a slip knot. I'm not liking how loose these loops are on my nose. I can fix that later. Okay. Alright, so that's what we've got. This back band here, you can just tuck it in somewhere if you want. Just, you know, you're not going to see it once it's on the face anyway, so. Alright, so let's place this on Mickey's face. Position it the way you want it. Make sure it's centered. So that's how I've got it now. And then I'm just going to go in through the face and pull down one band. Then I'm going to go on the other side, pull down the other band, and take a look at it and make sure it's the way you want it. And if it is, then just fold him inside out and tie this part into a knot. So you've got your two loose bands, and I'm just going to knot that. Just like that. Alright, so that's what I have here. There's his little nose. Okay, so let's add our ears. Now you can add these wherever you want. I'll probably put them closer to this where the nude edging starts. So I'll probably put it one black row back from that, and I'll probably center this with the eyes. So, but first we want to add some more bands to this so it will hold in place better. So here's your tying off band. I'm going to go into the next stitch over and then just do a slip knot with another black band. Okay, so I'm just slip knotting that one, and then on the other side, the opposite side, the next stitch over, I'm doing a slip knot. Okay, so now I have 3 bands like that. I'm going to do my other ear real quick. So I'm just going into the next stitch over and tying a band around that one. And then the opposite side. Okay. Okay, so take your Mickey. And figure out where you want to put the ears. So I'll probably put them like this. Where's my other? Oh, okay, that was tucked in. So center your tying off band with the eye. And you want to go through the hole that is directly across from the eye, that is centered with the eye. And then go on the other side and pull your other tying off band through. And then I'm going to go on the other side over here. Let's see. Probably go here. Pull the other band through. So then I'm just going to carefully pull this like this. So you have 3 loose bands here, And what I'm going to do is just knot 2 of them together. So I still have one that's loose and hanging for now. I'm going to knot 2 together. And I'm not like tying too tight because I don't want it to pull the stitches. Just tight enough so that it will hold. Okay, so I've got that. Now grab all your bands there and grab this one and then also tie that in a knot. And I'm kind of just using the one band to stretch. Okay, so I've just tied those in a knot. Okay, so there's one ear. And now I'm going to add my other one. This eye keeps wanting to pop out. Okay, I'm not going to fiddle with this like I did with my Donald. It's ridiculous. Okay, so I want to go up, center the eye. I'm going to pull my center band through one of these. And you want to keep in the same row that your other ear is on. So I didn't do that, so I'm going to move back just a little bit. Oh wait, yes I did, okay. Okay, and then I'm going to go on the other side. Pull one of these bands through, and then the opposite side. And if you like the way it looks, carefully turn it inside out and tie your knots. And if you don't like the way it looks, even after you've tied the knots, you can easily just untie it and fix it up. I really wish there was an easier way of attaching. I'm sure there is, but like I guess you could probably use like actual thread. However, not everybody has thread, so I'll just do it this way. Okay. Oh, his little ear flopped over. His ears are flopping over. Just give him a little stretch. Okay, so this is what I got for Mickey. And let's just add his feet real quick. I wish his ears would stay better. I'll fix them later. Okay, so I'm going to add his, did I say ears or legs? I'm going to add his legs. So we've got our holding hook with our legs on there. And so I'm going to take one of those. So I've still got my loose stitch here, and I'm going to go through the next one and tie it off with black. So I'm going through all my loops and tying a slip knot. And I'm going to take one more off of my hook and do the same thing. And hopefully I remember to attach them correctly for the leg part. Okay. And then I'm just going to place them kind of where this black starts after the red, so that they flop out like that. So I'll probably place them, not the first row of red, but the second, somewhere in the second row. So I'll just bring my tying off band through there. And then I will go somewhere in here and grab some of these stitches over here that are inside the Mickey. And I'll just tie it off, making a slip knot. Okay. And then I'll do the same on the other side. So, it's always hard to get these like exact. Okay, that looks good. So just keeping that on my hook, and then I'm gonna don't pull it like this, otherwise it's gonna fold into itself. Just find a stitch that is the length of the band on your hook. So I'm just tying this one off. Okay, so I've got his little arms attached. And we'll continue with the rest of the body. So for this, we don't have any more color switching. You will need your black a little bit later for the tail, but we're done with the skin tone, and all right now we need for the rest of the body is red. Yay! No more color changes. Okay, so for 3 rounds, we are just going to be going around in our 24 stitches. So let's take our, if you've temporarily fastened this off, let's take that out. And then pick up your last stitch and place your C-clip in there. Okay, so let's just go around with red. I want that one. And in row 15, which will be the last row of the red, we're going to add our feet. So do this all the way around in red 2 times. So we're just single crocheting in 24 stitches. Do that twice, and then meet me back here and we'll do the last row with this pattern and attach the feet at the same time. Okay, so I finished 2 rounds in the red. Now we're going to add our feet, so grab one of your feet and take that loose loop there and stick it through another stitch here, and we're going to pull up a red band, so we're going to pull that through all of those, and then just set that down for a moment and do the same thing with your other foot. So I've got my loose loop, and then I'm going through the next stitch, pulling up a red and setting that down. Stay. Okay, well, I'll just put that on my hook for now because it's not going to stay. Okay, so we're continuing around. This is our last row for the single crochets in the 24 stitches. So we're going to go around again with red, but in our second stitch, so here's one, and then the next one, we're adding our foot. So grab your foot, go through your next stitch, and pull up one end and then grab the other end and put that on your hook, making sure your foot is on the outside of the body and single crocheting that. Okay, so that was stitch number 2, and then we're going to go around to number 8 is where we'll place the other one. So here's 3, here's 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then let me just take that off for a moment. Grab your other foot and go into your 8th stitch and pull up one end of your band, grabbing the other one, and my foot is on the outside and I'm pulling that through. And then we can just continue all the way around to the C-cup with the single crochets in red. And then after this row, we'll start closing him up and stuffing him. And then adding his tail, his cheeks, and he'll be finished. I like this one a lot better than the original one that I was going to do. Okay, so last stitch here, and I'm going to put my C-clip back at the beginning. Okay, so what we want to do for this next row is we're going to do a single crochet in 2 stitches and then a stitch together or decrease, and we're going to do that all the way around. So it's 2 single crochets, decrease, 2 single crochets, decrease. Okay, so we're going to do our first crochet here. So there's 1, and then going into the next stitch, there's 2. Okay, and then a decrease. If you're not familiar with this, I'm going to pick up the front loop only over my next stitch, and then I'm going to go to my next stitch and pick up the front loop only, grab a band, and pull that through those 2 loops, not the last loop, just the 2. Put the band back on your hook and then do my crochet. So that was 1 stitch together or decrease. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. I'm going to do 2 single crochets. So there's 1, and then my next stitch, there's 2, and then the next thing is a stitch together. So there's 1 loop that I'm picking up if I can. Okay, and then you've got a tiny one here, that's from the leg. Make sure you include that. So I've got 3 bands on my hook, or 3 loops. Pulling through the first 2. And then just doing my crochet. Okay, let's continue that around. So 2 single crochets. And then a decrease. Okay, again, 2 singles. So there's 1, there's 2, and then a decrease. Two single crochets, then a decrease, two single crochets, and then I'm ending with a decrease. So I'm going to take my C-clip out. Alright, so now I should have 18 stitches. And I'm going to go around with one single crochet and a decrease all the way around so that I end up with 12 stitches, and then we'll stuff him before we close him up. Okay, so I'm going to do my single crochet and then my decrease. So it's one decrease all the way around. Okay, single, and here's decrease, single, here's decrease, single, decrease, single, decrease, single, and then we'll end with a decrease. Okay, so let's just scoot our band down a little bit because we're going to stuff him. So I'm using polyfil. You could use anything soft. You could use the stuffing from old stuffed animals. You could use the polyfil that you get from the craft stores. You could use socks, cotton balls, tissues, paper towels, plastic bags. There's a lot of things you could use. Doesn't just have to be polyfil. So I'm going to stuff them pretty good. However, when I get towards the butt area, I'm going to use a little bit less because from the decreases we have some gaps there, so I don't want any polyfil sticking out. Of course, you'll still be able to see a little bit of it, but boy, he's a little chubby Mickey. Okay, so I'll put a little bit more and then I'll close him up. Okay, so now we have 12 stitches left. So we want to end up with 6, and so we just need to do a decrease all the way around. So we're going to stitch together 6 times. So here's 1. Then our next one will be 2. Next one will be 3. And then 4. then 5. And then last one will be 6. Okay. Let's add another band to that. So we're going to slip knot this, an extra band onto there, so that we can use it as kind of like a thread to close it up. So got this. And now I'm just going to go in the top loops only around the 6 stitches, or however many you can find. Even if you just do 4, it will still close it up. So I'm going to do 5. And then just pull tight. So we've closed his little bottom up. And then we'll just want to bring this through a stitch over here. So bring that through. Across. And I'm taking this, and where you went across, I'm going to go under that and bring this under, but I'm still holding on, and whoops, just bring that under and then through to make a knot. Okay, and then just stick that ear hook through the body. Try not to get the stuffing, but that's hard to do, so okay, grab your tying off band and just pull that through as best you can. Okay, so there he is without his little tail, and I am going to add cheeks too, because I like them with cheeks. I think they're cute. Okay, so I'm going to do the cheeks real quick. So I'm just using this hair chalk because I don't use it for anything else, so this is perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna probably put it like right here. Again, you don't have to do this, but I think it's cute. It's like kawaii-ish, I guess. I wish his ears would stay up. Okay, so there's his little cheeks. And let's do his little tail. This is easy. Just taking some black and wrap that around 3 times. Actually, no. Yeah, 3 times, so that you have 4 loops on there. And I'm going to double. The whole thing is going to be double banded. So, double looped. So, I'm just putting the cap band on and then putting it back on my hook. And I'm going to pull up 12 of these. You can do it as long or short as you want. Actually, I think I might make it shorter. So, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'll just do 8. But do as many as you want, or don't add it. It's up to you. So then I'll grab a red band and I'll bring that through, putting that into the center, take that off for a moment. And I'll grab my Mickey and place this wherever you want. I kind of want it to be like right here. And so I'll hold on to this side and I'll go in through somewhere back here. And I'll grab one end, pull that through, keeping it on my hook. Then I'll go around to the other side, stick my hook in there and grab the other side of the band. Like that. And then I'll just tie a slip knot. Like that. And tuck that in to his pants somewhere. And then we're finished. Thank you so much for making Mickey with me. I'd love to see your Mickeys on my Instagram at christina.davis. The link is on my channel banner. If you haven't made Donald or Daisy, here they are right here. You should totally make those because they're really cute too. So I plan on making quite a few of these, and you can have like a whole collection, stack them, and they're really cute. My son loves the Mickey one. So yeah, here's Mickey, and then look forward to Minnie. Probably put them out at the same time. But the difference with Minnie is she'll have eyelashes, and then the red will start up here somewhere, and then she'll have a little skirt and a bow. So there are, you know, a few changes there, so I decided that I'll make another tutorial for her. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.